the third part of my music run-through. All the books I've got relating to music. This one's 1965. I suppose this is more a sort of book about the times, but it does actually include loads and loads of references, of course, to the music of the time, and also, of course, fashions, etc., and the arts. This is the year modern Britain was born. There's so many books like that. 1971, 72, I've got loads of them. Really love those. This one, another cover one, which I love, funk and soul covers, really decent. Now, I'm not a mega fan of funk music, but you got there, obviously, Vicky Anderson there, as well as Joe. Many of these acts I'm not really that familiar with, I admit. My apologies on that. If you're a funk and soul fan, some of these I think, oh, who are they? When I'm flicking through. Many I've actually listened to over the years, but still, Alice Clark, I have to say, Choice 4, I couldn't really. If someone said, can you hum a song from Choice 4? Nope. Sweet soul music. This is a lovely book. This one's Peter Guralnick. I can never say his name, but still an absolutely brilliant book. It's got a few photos all the way through it, and obviously you can see a few posters there, but it's just a really, really good read. And as it says here, among my all-time top favourite books. Definitely Solomon Burke, James Brown, Sam Cooke, Aretha Franklin, etc. So lots and lots of information in there. Here's another covers book. This one's Blue Note. It's quite a small one. I've got a few slightly bigger ones. And unfortunately, I haven't got all of the Blue Note volumes. I would like to have had that, but unfortunately, one, I think it's ridiculously expensive, so I've never bought it. But you can see, again, lots of great covers there. They really did produce some beautiful covers. I don't know why. There's just something about the covers that just look absolutely amazing. The typography, the layout, everything about it. Just wow. I always think. Just not all. I mean, obviously, there's always a few sort of ones you think not so good. Possibly, the sort of covers that are a bit messy. But you've got some look at that. The typography there, down to earth. Just great. Black and then white there and the red. Beautiful. Absolute beautiful covers. This one's a great one. I absolutely. Now, obviously, this is probably a bit out of date now, but it includes so much information going all through the statements and the various, the books, the sort of public accounts or whatever. Just building up information about how much money is in rock and roll. And it's just fascinating. Just going to like list, it's basically lots of lists of how much money and what they do with the money and that sort of thing. Obviously, some of it, speculation, I'm quite certain, they've done pension funds and all that sort of stuff. But it's just a brilliant, brilliant read. I loved it. Not one actually, when you look at it, you think, rock gold, the Music Millionaires. Doesn't really sell it. Nothing on the back either. But actually, it's one of my favourite books. It's just fascinating because it really gives an insight into the business. And that's really, for me, it's just fascinating. Sort of all the contracts that people signed, maybe too hastily sometimes. As I mentioned, sometimes one signed when they were drinking too much, which is probably never a good time to sign a contract. Or sort of like, just caught in a moment, bad time. You look at contract, you always got to read them. Always, always. Because there's always a little question, what does that mean? That sort of stuff. Soulsville, USA, the story of Stax Records. This is absolutely great. I love Stax. Stax are great. Lots and lots of classic songs. And this book is full of information. There are not many pics. In fact, I don't think it's hardly any. There's a few pictures, but it's still a really good read about an absolutely brilliant record label, Story of Stax Records. A thin book about mods, but still very good, full of quite a few decent pictures, but of course many that are sort of seen elsewhere, but still, I love that one. Look at that, all the dance moves there. You have to follow all the dance moves, what you do, swing around and do this and that. Some look a bit silly, I must admit. Number 5. Yes, actually it looks like some of the moves that we do in my dance classes. Maybe they're still going, I don't know. But still, look at that. I mean, that is pretty impressive, isn't it? Turn the beat around, a secret history. I'm not saying how secret it is. Obviously, it's now in this book, so it's not secret anymore. But this book is full of disco information. Lots and lots. Now, I was more a punk. I was into punk music. I loved punk. So disco music was sort of, Now, I appreciate it a lot more, and it's sort of fascinating to read through this. And these sort of books are great for catching up and finding about all the sort of things that I sort of ignored back then, which I shouldn't have done, but still. That's what you do when you're younger, isn't it? The Beatles. This one's brilliant. Mammoth Book of the Beatles. The fullest ever anthology of writing about the Beatles. It's all sort of books, writings that were obviously done at the time. So it all goes through 1967, 1963, etc., etc. You've got to see there. Hard Day's Night, things we said today, talking about that, as well as the loads of other things about the American albums. This is probably the most comprehensive book in terms of sort of articles of the time. I just love it. I wish they'd bring out a really massive book of those sort of things with the actual pictures of the articles. That would even be better. But still, this book is definitely worth reading. So, fullest amount anthology there. It says there, a must-have Beatles companion. You can't beat those must-have ones. Abbey Road, of course, brilliant one from David Hepworth. Any book by David Hepworth, I always enjoy. So this one is definitely brilliant. Forward by Paul McCartney, talking about, of course, Abbey Road. Not many pictures, but a few pictures, but still tons and tons of information about all the various rooms in there and all the various, what happened, all the various accounts of things. Lovely book. Another one of these sort of period books that I just love. The Faber Book of Pop. And this is just full of like 1958 there, you can see, 1962. Again, these are all articles and books, obviously, that were written at the time. My Beatles hat, or also, obviously, people's memories of things, maybe, as well. Also, 6 Hip Male Chicks, whatever that. Missionary of Apocalyptic Sex, as always, Dance to the Death, and so on, all the way through 60s, obviously the 70s, 80s as well. This is an absolutely packed, solid book about pop music. Really worth getting. Now, this one's an interesting one. The Restless Generation. This is all 1950s, and it's just obviously talking about 1950s music. I love it. Absolutely great. Again, not a period I particularly know that well, so this goes into all the details about all of this. Now, this by Peter Frame, of course, who did those brilliant books, I assume. Unless there's another Peter Frame, that'd be weird, wouldn't it? But still, this is packed solid with lots of information about also the years as well, what was happening. So Winston Churchill resigns as Prime Minister, apparently, April the 5th. When was that? Don't know. It didn't say the year. 1955, apparently. So you got all about the chronological times there. John Baldry, Long John Baldry, I should say, becomes a teenager. Those sort of things. Sounds of the 60s. So if you're into the 60s like I am, this is just a great book because it's just literally lists and lists of all the various songs that you should obviously find out about 60s. Junior Choice, novelty records. This goes through a whole load of psychedelic era. So you've got there, they sang it first. And that's always quite fascinating. Of course, there's always great songs. You think, oh, who did that? And then suddenly you find out that someone else did it earlier. And you think, oh, and it's nice to listen to those versions. And quite often YouTube's great for that. You can go on YouTube and find the earliest version of it. And it's a whole long list of those. The albums, of course, the ones that were quite popular at the time, one before the hit, they're always quite interesting as well. You obviously, a band has a big hit, but what happened before that? What did they produce before that? The Kinks. I mean, things like Long Tall Sally, I guess, those sort of things. Keep on Dancing, Brian Paul and the Tremolos. And not, obviously, some of the songs are not that great. Maybe some so TV and radio themes. So that's quite interesting as well. You've got here, Thank Your Lucky Stars. Oh, yeah, that's a great series. Gurney Slade. 77 Sunset Strip. As well as theme from the Avengers. I love the Avengers. So that's great. Crosstown Traffic, Jimi Hendrix and the Post-War Pop. Lovely little book talking about, obviously, what it says. As it says, Jimi Hendrix and Post-War Pop. Very unusual expression. Also, for some weird reason, came with this card. I do not know why, but the card was in it. So I was thinking, I'll have that for down. I think I got it for about £1 down in my local charity shop. But still, got full of lots of information. Not many pics, but still a good little book. This one's an unusual one. All the books are just going to fall on top of me. I think I better remove them in a sec. The Music Library. And this one is packed with lots of very unusual albums. In fact, I haven't got a single album that is mentioned in this book. So you've got lots and lots of pages of these albums that are truly weird, sort of music library ones, reference ones that people used to use, they need some music for the background or whatever. I think there's just a mix of stuff that people could use. And these were just like, look at this, just really, none of these turned up in shops. I don't think there was like these would ever turn up in your average shop. And I have never seen a copy of any of these. They probably do turn up, I assume, at record fairs, I guess. But it's still, just full of some great picks all the way through this. Many people that I have never, Italian music label. I guess if you're obviously in Italy, you might know of these labels, but this one here, Yeah, absolutely fascinating book. I think, no, does it include? No, it doesn't. I think I had one before. It actually had a record, sort of a CD in it. Not an LP, of course, but a CD in it of some of the music. And I think that was in the previous volume. This one doesn't seem to actually have that. So this is just all, and it's been expanded because the one before was a bit smaller. But this one is definitely a really worth one to pick up. The Music Library. This is a fascinating book. Many years from now, this is an interview, a really long interview with Paul McCartney, all the way through the book. Really fascinating. A few pictures, but really lots and lots of insights from Paul McCartney all the way through. This one, Ray Davies, and it's A Complicated Life by Johnny Rogan. I really enjoyed reading this. I love the Kinks, got virtually all of the Kinks albums, and they're just great. And this book I found fascinating, really, really interesting. Got some great pictures as well, but just lots of information about the Kinks, all the various songs, what happened behind the scenes, and a lot more. This is a lovely one. I love these ones. Huge, huge ones. Now, there's a few that I haven't got, and quite often I look online and I look around for them and I think, oh, that'd be nice, but they're often 50 or 60 quid, and I think, no, I'm not going to spend that much. But the album cover art, and this one's New York Hot. Find a lot of them. We've got the East ones and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, West Coast ones, but it's just full of some great album covers that you can see there. Sonny Rollins, and I mean, look at that one. Just an awesome cover, isn't it? I mean, that is just beautiful. Love that building. That is just amazing. Also, many other great album covers there. Miles Davis as well. Sonny Rollins again. Great. There's so many great jazz covers. They were just stunning. This here is Bobby Timmons. And let's go for a few more there. Just, I think, well, they must have done a few dud ones, but certainly this book has not included many. And I think that's a lovely one. And there's another one here. East Coasting. You can see a sort of the cover art of New York, Prestige, Riverside and Atlantic Records. Again, just amazing. Just really, really good album covers. Now, I don't think they always look as good, of course, when they're in CDs. CD covers, just never the same. But those old album covers, just amazing. They were just a joy to look at. And I've still got a lot. I've still put quite a few on my wall upstairs. I just got them around. I think, yes, they're brilliant. The records are scratched to the death because they're all from Oxfams and charity shops. But they're still great covers. They just look amazing. And whenever I see a great cover, I think, yes, must have that. Just for the cover more often than... I mean, the album's great as well. But you can, of course, always listen to it elsewhere as well. But still, organizing and Jazz a la Bohemia. But yes, another great little book there from, also they got these ones, Blue Note and Cool. I think there's a volume 2 of that one, Blue Note, and I haven't got that one, I don't think. There's a few that I'm just missing because they just become, unfortunately, very hard to get. This one, Sitting In, Jeff Gold, and this is a lovely book, just showing basically people sitting down, having a good time. What can be better about all the various clubs? I mean, just wow, just fascinating. You've got there, the clubs there, people just obviously having photographs taken with people, and Oink's Club, Three Deuces, I should say. Also, lots of people again sitting down, just having a meal. And what can be better than a book like that? I mean, Birdland, just great. I mean, look at those concerts. They must have been really staggeringly brilliant. And again, lots of great photos all the way through the book. I love this one. Absolutely. The jazz clubs of 1940s and 1950s. Another one of those brilliant album covers. I just love these books. This is slightly smaller than an album cover, I think. Yes, it is. Definitely. But still filled with some great, because some of them are obviously things like that. Perfect background music for your home movies. Really? Okay, I guess that's something. Sound 8. I've never seen any of those, but I would probably buy them if I saw them. Because just what a brilliant cover. I mean, that is just, something falling out there. The best pop lyrics. Must have kept that for some reason. And also Sleep, Baby, Sleep. All the sort of things. I mean, what brilliant albums. Homer, Jethro in the country car playing away there. Oh dear, that is just Sing Me Back Home by Herman and Angel, looks like. But it's full of some great covers and some pretty terrible covers as well. Big Tom and the Mainliners, Souvenirs. Just obviously taking a photograph of his house. Why not? And Dancing with Edmundo. I mean, look at that one. That one's Bill May. Plays for Fancy Dancing. Just great. Absolutely brilliant. Oh, this one. Music to Watch Girls By. I love it. That's just great. I mean, that is really, you get surrounded by the band and I think, hey, this is Kevin Gavin. Just this. Oh, look at it. I mean, it's really, what's that one there? I can see it there. Sticky Fingers. I think it's slightly. Honeymoon in Paris. I mean, what's that one? Honeymoon in Rome. Honeymoon in Maidstone. In honeymoon in wherever. You could bring out, of course, Top of the Pops albums. Actually, I love Top of the Pops albums. Top of the Pops albums are great, mainly because quite often they're like quite a few songs, if you find out that they're sung by like people like Tina Charles, who I absolutely love. Elton John, of course, did lots of Red, White. Yeah, and also other ones. There's quite a few of those. You quite often see those ones in charity shops, stereophonic ones where you've got these albums best played for stereo and that sort of thing. And they always have really weird covers, which are just great. But that is the thing I love, just looking for some really, truly vinyl junkyard. I guess that is with the name there. But to me, they're not junk. I think they're just absolutely fascinating. Maybe the music probably is a bit, not for everyone perhaps, but still. This one is another great book. And whenever I pick up in Graphics, they do lots of design books. I love these ones. And this is record covers. It's obviously German, French and all that sort of thing. But one of those ones, I saw this in the British Library. Obviously, this isn't the British Library copy. I saw it in the British Library. I thought, oh, I must find a copy of that. As soon as I went online, I quickly looked up. Yes, because it's just full of some great album covers, black and white. But it's just absolutely brilliant. I mean, there's some really daft ones here. Copland or the Red Pony. I mean, Andre Previn there. And, well, the Four Symphonies of Charles Ives, Soul of Japan. I mean, look at the design. Some of the designs are absolutely great on these. This one, I mean, some of these albums are completely obscure. I mean, for me anyway, not all of them. Obviously, Bitches Brew there. Obviously, that's well known. But this one here, I mean, look at that. Swing Street. I mean, that's just great. Look at that text right down the centre of the album cover. That is so odd. That's the sort of thing you think on the back cover. But still, I mean, look at that one as well. Dave Brubeck, Quartet. And they've got all the text there. Just great. Wonderful, unusual use of great. Would you imagine that now, doing an album cover with text all across it like that? I don't think I've seen one like that. Obviously on CD it would completely be useless probably. Maybe now vinyl's coming back. Maybe there'll be a whole renaissance in these sort of brilliant covers because I think they produce some, look at that one, just really odd covers. But I love them, absolutely love it. Inside the Glass House. You know, wow. But this book is just full of great, great examples of superb albums. Just love it. No, I must admit, sometimes the music's not always great. Depends on your taste. Music. Everyone loves different things, of course, which is great. This one, Coast to Coast, album covers. Another one of these ones, Prestige Rivers. There's obviously a theme coming through here. But they're just great. Pacific Jazz, Atlantic. Again, Miles Davis, just really, really good. I mean, Miles Davis All Stars. All day long. I mean, that's just great. Just a very simple, basic cover with the text just there. Thumbnails, of course. Now, that's all we live with. Thumbnails. And then, of course, Spider-Man. Thelonious Monk plays Duke Ellington. All those sort of ones. Look at that. Thelonious Monk ones as well. Just brilliant. Oh, Charles Mingus, the Clown. That's an unusual cover, isn't it? That is a really unusual. But they were great covers. Absolutely fascinating. Wayne Shorter there. Was it Waning Moments? Okay. But it's just a brilliant, brilliant book. I love these ones. Absolutely superb. Though sometimes you find that they're quite expensive. Sometimes you look online. Not always. Sometimes you can find, I bought this one for about £1. I think this one, oh no, I didn't. It's £4. I lied. But it was that sort of price. I knew it was reasonably priced. When I saw it, I thought, no, not one of the books that I really want. But wow, what a great book. It's just full of some great pics of all the behind the scenes of the making of, the production of, and also, of course, some of the early album covers, like the Rolling Stones ones there. Obviously, that's an EP, saying, okay, close to album cover. And also like Peter Gunn there, the obviously TV series. Elvis Presley, Led Zeppelin, of course, you got all there. Those sort of things, all the what the processes are for doing these. What do you putting those onto the records? All in very interesting stuff, I think. And also the jukeboxes, obviously, to play them, and also the record systems, and also obviously into the 1970s again, lots of all pictures Brewer again. Weird, mentioned that only a few seconds ago. Three's the magic number. You got also all the various other albums there, and so on, all the way through to, of course, CDs. Well, of course, since the book is called Vinyl: The Art of Making Records, it probably sort of. But of course, now vinyl is back again, so maybe they need to update it to include all that, or maybe they have, without looking at the back of it. But still, let's go on to the next one. Cover art of Blue Note. Again, there's a few volumes of these Blue Note, and there's probably quite a lot of overlap. But I mean, look at that. Cool strutting. Sonny Clark, I think that's just such great. So basic a cover, but wow. That is just brilliant, just sort of straight away. 1965, I don't know when that was. I would have thought that was later. Earlier, I should say. 1965, I don't know. Whatever. It's certainly sometime. That's sometimes when you look at these things, you look for the date and information, and it's probably there. It's probably on the next page, just to throw confusion. No, that's weird. Some of it later on, when you get to the later sections, you actually can see you got details of the date, as well as the artist and the designer, and that sort of things. Like Reed Miles, obviously there. But it's some Reed Miles again. He obviously did quite a lot of them, didn't he? But they're just great. Wow. They really jump off the shelves, I would have thought. I mean, that's just beautiful. That one, Oh Baby. That one, Down With It. Blue Mitchell Quintet. I think they're just lovely. Just absolutely great. But this is full of some great album covers. The incredible Jimmy Smith. Many of the acts, I must admit, I'm not familiar with because I'm not a mega jazz fan. Don't mind jazz, but it's one of those ones that I can't say that I know all the bands at all. And some I do, but not all. Here we go. Here we come, the Three Sounds. Again, not familiar with them. In the Groove. I love this sort of one. This is brilliant. I mean, again, just full of just so evocative 1950s, that sort of covers. See there? Just brilliant. I love that. That's a brilliant Tony Bennett one. This one, again, some just accordiana. Those ones, I mean, they're very hard to find. I have seen sort of EPs and singles. Sometimes you can see them, but I haven't got many of these sort of ones. Frank, I mean, songs by Sinatra. I mean, that is just so amazing in that sort of that style. So, actually, design-wise, I don't think about just looking at it now, it's not the greatest of design. But still, it's very much of the time. Obviously, when he was a bit younger, wasn't it? There's songs by Sinatra. And also Mexico there, Duke Ellington, Panorama, the colours as well. That's, I think, probably always the thing that strikes me when I look at these, just the blues and things, so evocative of that period. 1942. These ones 1942. I would say 1950s, but then earlier than that as well. I mean, some of these I suspect lots of these never ever turned up in the UK. Obviously, it's this one, 1949. I mean, imagine these must have been very rare in the UK. Samba ones. Cocktail Capers. Just great. Imagine sort of flies just going buzzing around. I'm going to have to get rid of that fly. He's probably going to be backwards and forwards in the video. And also there, of course, that looks like the film, doesn't it? Anatomy of a Murder. And Holiday in Hawaii. Just absolutely brilliant, this one. I love this book. And obviously there's the back. Tony Bennett, of course, on the back as well. Blue Note, another of these great books. I've got about 5 or 6 books of Blue Note, but they are great. I mean, this has got also a history of lots of photos, of course, all the way through, and also, of course, many more of the brilliant album covers again. Stomps Rags. I mean, look at those. Lovely of that period. Just great. I don't know what that was. It was Manhattan. I just love old photos of Manhattan like that. That one's from 1956, 55, that sort of period. Just fascinating. I love those ones as well. A sheet there, obviously, and you've got just album cover after album cover, as well as the back. Sometimes the back covers, very rare back of the album covers, rarely shown. And I must admit, they're always fascinating as well. Sometimes the design on the backs, like there, are just as equally as good or interesting as the designs on the front. I mean, I just love the way they cut up there of the text. And also you've got all the notebooks, other notebooks as well, obviously all recording things, all the various photo sheets again. Those just absolutely amazing. This is a lovely book, this one. Probably, I don't know if this is still available. I saw this in my local library in hardback. I think it was hardback. And I thought, yes, I must get a copy of that. And Blue Note, definitely over the moon with that one. Prestige Records. This is absolutely amazing. The album covers collection again. You get more album covers. I mean, look at that. Just absolutely. I'm saying that's a very rough one, isn't it? That's obviously not the world's greatest reproduction of, but I suppose if that's what you got in your collection, obviously. But some of these, I love the design, the art. I mean, look at that. That's Trombone by Three. Very weird. Rollins playing. I think this. Actually, I prefer it when they just do the full page. If you have 4 on a page, I mean, it's fine. Oh, there's that one again. All Day Long. I mean, that looks much nicer when you see it a full page than just. Obviously, it's not the same size as an actual album cover. Now that would be, but the book would become a lot more expensive, I guess, wouldn't it? But it's still full of some great pictures, and it's just going to fall out of my hands there. So I better move that back. Red Garland, Soul Train. Oh, just great. Absolutely great Scott, and many others. So that's Prestige Records, and that one was £3.50. Again, Oxfam one. Another one, blues albums covers. Now, I'm not a mega fan of blues particularly, so, but it's over the years I've bought blues records, but there's loads of these absolutely brilliant blues covers. Though I think the jazz ones actually win out, to be honest, design-wise. For me, I love the design more than maybe the music sometimes. That's just, but I mean, I love music as well. Not saying I don't, but it's just Albert King, Born Under a Bad Sign. Whenever I get these ones, I love looking at the design more than obviously, because I probably never listen to all the records in here. I know that. Virtually impossible. The amount of time to listen to it. Big Bill Brunsey, The Blues. Just still great covers all the same. Memphis Mini, Blues Classics. Again, not that one particularly, a very basic cover. It's telling you what the album is and all obviously the listing, but that's about it. This one, the album cover album. Album cover album. That's a weird title, isn't it? The Book of Record Jackets. And they did quite a few of these. Now, unfortunately, I haven't got many of them because they are quite expensive. They go quite expensive as well. And there's some really interesting. I'll probably flick through this. I better check actually before I turn to the page, because I can guarantee there's always going to be a page where it reveals, because some of the 70s albums were less than nowadays, maybe not so acceptable. So you've got the Doors. I mean, that's a great one. Strange Days. No, I was going to say Mott the Hoople. Yes, I always have to quickly check in advance what I turn to, because I know I'm going to turn to a wrong page. And someone's going to say, oh, but look at that. They had loads of these weird albums. There was sort of that period where you had those sort of fantasy elements all the way through, drawings and obviously there. And that one, Stack Ridge, never heard of them, I must admit. Oh, no, I better not go that one. Oh, these ones, Mad, obviously, Man in this case, but Mad, obviously, there. And some more. And this one's an absolute love one, but last time there's a series of these. And I've only got 1 or 2 of these, I think, at most. So this one, definitely very, very nice little album cover album, even if it is the weirdest of titles of a book.